Hi there, hello and welcome to another exciting edition of Sports Weekly, your one-stop shop for all things sports. My name is Emmanuel Odufejo and I am super excited to delve into another exciting stories coming from all around the world of sports. From basketball, Nigeria's the Tigress doing great and marvelous things out there in Bamako, I think, Mali. And also we'll talk football, the doubleheader coming in the World Cup qualifier between Nigeria and Cameroon. And of course, the Chamberlain Squash Open that just ended in Nigeria. So exciting stories we'll be discussing on this show today. I'm not alone. I have Mr. Joachim Idada, as usual, on the show with me.
My pleasure, man.
Great.
Sure.
Glad to have you on the show. All right. Just before we delve into it, this show is also about you, wherever you're watching this, and we'd like to hear from you. So use all our social media handles flying across your screen right now, and let's get to hear from you. What do you think about all of the talking points that we will be discussing, and what are your predictions, especially as it regards Nigeria's must-win double-header qualifier against the indomitable Lions of Cameroon? But before we get into football, let's start especially on a winning note and on a very happy note for me. Nigeria's the Tigress claimed their third title in the women's Afrobasket 2017 that happened in Mali. 8 games, 8 wins. And finally, they have qualified for also the women's, the World Cup ticket, basically, that will be happening in Spain next year. What are your thoughts? And it must be positive because, I mean, the whole nation is in a jubilant mood right now. The games weren't only, not just that they won, but the manner in which they won. I think it was just beautiful.
For me, my take, like I tell anybody, is there anything? Do you expect players who actually trade their skill in one of the biggest culture or biggest market of basketball? Do you expect them to do anything less than what they did when it comes to basketball in Africa? We are still non-starters when it comes to basketball, whether it's female or it's male. And so for me, if you tell me to celebrate, yes, because I'm in Nigeria. Yes, I want to celebrate, oh, Nigeria has won an event. But for me, what is critical is the question how. The how remark, or the answer to how is very, very critical. For how long will we continue bringing whether Nigerians from diaspora to come and represent us? Yes, they have a right to come and represent us. But automatically with this, you are just, it's one-sided. You are those Nigerians who are picking up the basketball locally. With what we are seeing, they stand no chance. They stand no chance against those players coming from the United States, because the United States is the biggest place for basketball. So there is no way our local players can stand a chance. It would have been better.
Is that because our local players are not as good as these girls coming from?
Because it's not just talent. There's a lot of work. There's a lot of planning. There's a lot of administrative issues to be resolved. There are lots of things that have to be put in place for our local players to be primed to perform at the level those girls are performing. So the first question I ask is, how many local players did they inject into the team so that they can even learn, so that even they can acquire the skills? You know, Milo is doing a basketball program called the Milo Basketball for secondary schools. So you now have a situation, because I know I talked to one of the girls who was chosen as the most valuable female player at the Milo event. And surprisingly, when I talked to her, she said she's hoping and praying that whether someday she will play for a local club in Nigeria, or she most preferably like to go and play in the United States of America, and all of that kind of a thing. So I think one thing we should keep on, as much as we are going to rejoice, we should just ask ourselves, how do we structure our program such that the cake will be made at home? Then you can bring foreigners to come and be the icing, or some flowers on the cake.
So I always have my reservation about this cake being baked at home. 2 things basically. Same thing for all other sports. Everyone knows where, if you are a footballer, then I think your greatest joy should be to play, when it comes to club competition, should be to play in the Champions League. When it comes to maybe country, your greatest joy should be to play in the World Cup. Now, everybody want to get better. You want to get better at what you do, basically. So for this is argument going out there in the world of football that says, for South American players, for instance, every South American player wants to end up playing for Barcelona at one point or the other in their lives. And that's a legitimate ambition, the way I see it. So there's nothing wrong with a player wanting to go. So that young girl who has finished in the Milo Basketball Championship and is already aspiring to go and play, in the US, I think that's a legitimate ambition. And if she goes there and she does well, and one day Nigeria calls her to come and represent the country, and she answers that call, I think that's just all good and fine. And the other thing, just two things, and the other thing is around saying that, okay, do you take the foreign talent, as against, going with your local talent? I would say for every time you have a competition, there's equal opportunity for everyone. So if for every time there is an opportunity, if the foreign talents are better than the local talents, then always go. Why? There's no point shooting yourself in the foot, going with a local talent in the name of, I want to develop local talent, but then you lose.
We should stop crying about the whole question of brain drain. Because that's what you indirectly tell him, because if I train my skill here, if I've done everything I can do here, I'm working so hard, I'm working my butt out trying to just, to do my best locally, and all of a sudden, when it's crunch time, you say, oh no, I'd rather go and bring people from abroad because in your own listen. Then the next day, I'll be looking for a club abroad to live. So we should stop. So somehow I think there's what we call the right of first refusal.
I use football again. So an average Kelechi Iheanacho is barely 23, or how old can he be? He earns maybe about £50,000 or so, or maybe even 80 nowadays with his new move. The highest paid Nigerian in the Nigerian Professional League probably gets 40,000 or 50,000. So you're telling me that I should rather stay and play, for an MPFL club when I could as well, move. I think that it's just.
What I'm advocating is a balance.
Yeah.
This whole idea that you give because you come from abroad and everything is like a blanket ticket. That you have
it's not just because you come from abroad.
Preference.
If you are also better.
See, look, let me tell you, except we don't want to be truthful to ourselves.
Yeah.
Then look, with the kind of amenities and everything that's available in these foreign countries,
they will be naturally better.
It is rocket. It's not rocket science. It is not rocket science. The point I'm trying to explain to you is, the question is, look, if in Nigeria, who is half as good, if I'm a coach, in Nigeria, who is half as good as a Nigerian that is based abroad, if I am to select them to go for an event, I will select that Nigerian who is based locally. Because one thing I want is, I need to encourage the other Nigerians that are based locally. I want to encourage them so that they will know that even though they are based locally, and
the only way to encourage the local lads is by discouraging the foreign lads. You're discouraging them by saying that you would choose a local lad over them if he's half as good.
The team that came to whip, the South African team that came to whip our Super Eagles in the backyard, comprised of local players, not foreign players.
Okay.
We brought in stars for the players from all of them.
A team that wins the Super Eagles, it's a one-off, I hope you know. It's a one-off.
Watch. We are going to watch the next one.
Okay, let me give you one more analogy. Leicester City in the EPL won the league 2 seasons ago. Yeah, celebrate them. But everybody knows that that's a 1 in 100 years event. it only happens like that. So it's not a normal thing. So you cannot, on a given day, on a given day, you can take local lads from Nigeria.
When you count numbers, you count numbers in progressions.
Okay.
And in linear progressions, 1, 2, 3, 4. You say 1, it's a 1-off.
Yeah.
Till you get 2, and you now realize there's a 1 behind. What I can promise you, that same team that beat Nigeria in that match will beat Nigeria any day.
And what I can promise you, is that Leicester City would never smell the league in another 50 years. And that's sure. And if you go and check right now where they are probably 15th downwards, on the league table right now. Those things that's not how you build. And I believe that you should give everybody a fair chance. So if I were a young footballer right now and I'm playing somewhere in the local scene, and then someone comes and say, hey, would like to buy you, come to Spain. You're asking me not to take that chance of a lifetime. You're asking me to stay here just because, I would get... No, but if you were my coach, and I know that...
I'm not advocating that. It's a choice. It's a matter of choice. What I'm saying that, look, when crunch time comes and the selectors want to select, understand, we will give the right of first refusal to our local players because our team will be basically structured around the local players. The foreign players will just come and add some pay. We will not bring a team.
But that's an utopia, though. That's an utopia. You're trying to build a dream that, right now, it doesn't look like it. It's
because people like us will not be given the opportunity to manage.
All right. Interesting conversation, but basically, I think that right now it's time for us to just celebrate these girls. They've done incredibly well against all odds. I think it was 2003, and then 2003 in Mozambique, and then 2005, and then now in 2017 they are getting their third AfroBasket women's title, and also to just rub it in even more, Nigeria men in the male category, Nigeria also holds the AfroBasket. So it's a double header it's a double victory for Nigeria. It's double victory.
It's difficult for many African countries to beat Nigeria if we continue importing those guys.
Well, they are our guys. They are not from China or from, and they are not even from America. They are from Nigeria. They've got the Nigerian blood running in them. It's like Anthony Joshua who said, hey, it's amala and egusi that is my... No, it was pounded yam and egusi. Yeah, well, he's British. Yeah, he's British, which is fine. We celebrate him all. We celebrate him all the same. All right, so basically, AfroBasket Women 2017, Nigeria has clinched that title, and that marks the third time they are clinching that title. So congratulations to the whole of the basketball federation and the nation at large. Let's move on to yet another sport where, of course, Nigerians are also doing pretty well. But of course, it starts with Great Britain's top player, Tom Ford, and Nigeria's Yemisi Olatunji, who took the male and female category respectively at the maiden edition of the Chamberlain Squash Open Championship held at the Lagos Country Club, Ikeja. It was about 5 days or so of, beautiful sports. I heard that squash is about the most healthy sport, Yeah, they are basically, there's no way for you to get an injury. Nobody's going to hit you. It's not a contact sport, so basically you're very fine to do it. So by extension, Ford wins $1,805, while Ajagbe wins $235. Fantastic event all the same that happened last week, and congratulations again to Nigeria. At least one of our very own, got to the final, and she took away that prize. So the Chamberlain squash,
sure,
was that better?
Yes, I'm happy, even though sincerely I'm one of those that say it's good we are organizing more and more internationally
Yeah.
ranked and rated events.
Exactly.
And the Chamberlain one is an example. These foreigners are coming here to play. Very good one. It's also good exposure for our Scotch players right here in Nigeria, commendable. And you could see Yemisi Ajagbe pulling her weight despite the quality of opposition she faced. And that's good, and I'll tell them congratulations. We need to hold more and more events. Somehow there's something that is bothering me. Most events, sporting events that are of international standard that you're doing in Nigeria now, everything is taking place in Lagos. Everything is taking place in Lagos. I think we need more and more events, even if they are not international events. We need more squash events to be held in Port Harcourt, in Abuja, in Sokoto, even in where you have the BH people.
Right now, let's move on to football and let's discuss. Definitely, let's start from the home scene, talking about the MPFL. It's match week 36, which is 2 more match week days, match weeks, to go to the end of the season, and it's hotting up. It's hotting up. Competitions, for continental tickets, and also the battle to take the league title, seems to be hotting up as the week progresses. But definitely, Plateau United seem to have it all to lose right now. Plateau United are 63 points on the top of the table, despite 1-1 draw at home to Rivers United. MFMFC on 59 points, despite away loss to Abia Warriors. Aqua United are third on the log with 57 points, while Enyimba International are also fourth on the log with 57 points. Same with Aqua United. Enyimba International defeated Wiki Tourist 4-0 just this past weekend. So it's been exciting times in the MPFL, and we only hope that between MFM and Plateau United, the gap is now, say, about 4 points or so. MFM wasn't able to, capitalize on the draw Plateau United had, and so they lost, and it's making it. But I know you've always wanted MFM to win. How do you feel about the MPFL now?
Somehow, my reason for wanting the MFM to win is not because I was just a fan of MFM. It's because I just feel that we should have a mechanism through which we can inject more private sector participation in the Nigerian Football Premier League.
Yeah.
And one way of doing that is for MFM to win. And because Plateau United is generally, I don't think it's not a private club, it's owned by a state. Yeah. It's owned by a state. So I would love a situation where a private club like MFM, where the Lagos state government or no state government has invested in it, there's no money, it's just a church. So to invest, it will encourage other churches and other organizations. There's this hope that will say, okay, now it's like our league has come to stay. If we invest in the league and we get some returns from it, and that is one of the reasons why I'm rooting for the MFL. It's unfortunate that it didn't take advantage of the draw of Plateau United. Very, very unfortunate. I just felt so sorry that MFL lost that particular their own match. But we should not say all hope is lost. We should not say all hope is lost. Plateau United can still lose their last match. They can lose their next match. And if MFN can win the next 2 matches. So what I would say, they need the psychologists need to work on the players and let them do what they need to do. Put in their very, very best and hope for the better. Or put in their put in their good and hope for the best.
All right. Yeah.
So that kind of
I mean, it's been interesting in the MPFL. Top strikers, MFM's Stephen Ode still on 18 goals, and Lobby Stars Antonio Potu still on 17 goals. So the race is really hot, and MFM and Plateau United were both away in this last weekend, but it looked like Plateau United have been a bit more clinical, even when they go away, but MFM has been a bit wasteful, especially when they play away. So it's getting to the crunch time right now, and 2 more weeks to go. Anything can happen, and that's the beauty of football. The pendulum can still swing both ways. But in the other end of the table, especially for the likes of Remo Stars, already confirmed relegated to the NNL. And Gombe United are also most likely going to join them in the relegation. And it's not looking good for teams at the bottom of the table. But we'll keep our eyes, especially on the top of the table, where you have continental tickets up for grabs, and also who takes the glory in the final day. By the time we're here again next week, we would already be one step, into that final chapter, of the MPFL. All right, I think the big one for us this weekend, as far as football is concerned, is that doubleheader, between the World Cup qualifier between the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon and the Super Eagles of Nigeria. About 20 games played in between both teams, and Nigeria seems to be having the upper hand. 10 wins in 20 games and six draws and say about 4 losses. On the book value, it looks as if Nigeria have the upper hand, but we do know that Cameroon has had, upper hand when it comes to some crucial matches, especially in the AFCON. A couple of times, Cameroon has actually dumped Nigeria out of the AFCON and taken away the titles. On 3 specific occasions, Cameroon has done that. So it's going to be very important for Nigeria to be able to pick a point, or pick, all 3 points, if you will, in this doubleheader against Cameroon. What are you thinking concerning this match?
For one thing that I'm 100% sure is that football is not statistics.
Okay.
Yeah, football is not statistics. Yes, I agree. It's important to look at the statistics, but there are also other factors that you should take into consideration.
Yeah.
When you're going to look at this, we are bringing in, the Cameroonians are bringing in a team that is like Nigeria. They have quite a number of players that trade their skill abroad, and they are going to bring them in to come and represent their country. One thing about football that is unique to football and many sports like football, that it's a team sport.
Yeah.
And because it is a team sport, I tell people that bringing players from all over the world into a team sport is not to the advantage of the team. That's my belief, because there are quite a lot of factors that you take into consideration when it comes to team sports. How do the components in the team, how do they mesh, how do they operate, how do they move, how do they match, so many of our players that are coming in to come and represent Nigeria, they play for different clubs with different club philosophy and a lot of things like that. The Nigerian Clement Rowe, the Nigerian technical advisor, he has an employer tax for him in that particular event. It is for me, I believe it's a must win for Nigeria. If you don't win, we're in for some big problem. But be that as it may, the Cameroonians also want to qualify, and they want to. I'm sure they are rooting for a way to top that particular group. Right now, Nigeria is topping the group. Am I confident that Nigeria will beat Cameroon? No. Except God loves us, we'll beat Cameroon.
What does this have to do with God?
Except God loves us, because like most sports is a game of love. We have the man, the unseen player, in that every event. The unseen player is, you'll be surprised. You have everything well done, and all of a sudden you just have rain throughout the whole match. The man opens his flower pot, his flowering vase, and begins to shower water from there, and disrupts the match, and all of it plays to your advantage. But be that as it may, am I confident that we'll walk away with 3 points? Definitely no.
With the likes of Mikel Obi, coming back.
No, it's a team sport, and that for me is the most critical aspect of the whole equation. It is Is that what do you call it? Je ne sais quoi. It's there. It's important. It's a very very unique thing in most team sports. That team spirit. If we miss it, it was clear in the match with South Africa that Nigerian players were virtually strangers to each other. Wrong passes when people are supposed to be running. That is when the player is holding the ball back. You know all of that. What team philosophy are we doing? So and sometimes there's very little. Once the match starts, the coach can only exchange players, but cannot go and play the match. So it's not there for the players. So what is the team philosophy? What do you understand
But
in all of that?
I still always have my reservation about the argument on team philosophy. And I give you an example, a typical example. So just this past weekend, Liverpool trashed Arsenal 4-0.
Trash. If you say trash, then that's an understatement.
Would you say humiliated?
Yes,
All right. So Liverpool humiliated Arsenal 4-0. But my point is that Arsenal, they are a club team, right? They play together week in, week out. But they just didn't, just wasn't up for it on that day. So I am saying that the same thing that happened to the Super Eagles against South Africa, and it looks as if this team have never been together. It looked as if they didn't know each other. Was exactly what happened to Arsenal against Liverpool. And so I'm saying it's not really so much about the fact that you think if you are local, if you see yourselves every day, if you are best buddies, if you are always playing together every Saturday, you think that makes you a team, you think that makes you cohesive. You're still going to have those odd matches where things still don't work out well.
Let me explain something about the Arsenal team philosophy. The Brazilian team. The Brazilian believes that if you score me 10 goals, I will score you 11 goals.
Well, this time they were even able to score one.
So that is the question. Arsenal feels that they play attacking football, that they have the capacity to pick as many goals as possible at this thing. They have played 2 matches now, no goals. All of a sudden, the weakness in their defense is showing because for them, they are not concentrating in the defense. They are not looking at the defense as an issue. As far as they are concerned, score as much as you want to score. Because at the end of the day, they are also looking at the money that, the entertainment, the other thing. So if you do like Mario and you go and park the bus right there before the goal, nobody can cross. You don't bring your players out, they just sit down there and they kick the ball out, and one small chance they go and score and they go sit back again. And so when that has brought the philosophy, score me 10, I'll score you 11. Unfortunately, they have seen something like in the last match, in this one, you score me the match against Leicester City that they recovered after being 2-0 down. You see, that is what they believe. But they met Liverpool, who didn't even give them a chance, treated them like schoolboys, treated them like clearly like people who do not understand what football is. You understand? Football is counted by the number of goals. And the number of goals is also counted by how good your defense is. If you allow your opponent to pick you 4-0, then you must be very, very silly. That's the question. So against, that is what we are going to ask. If you want the German team that played in the Confederation Cup, come on, you saw the way they played. They played the final match against Chile. Man, oh man, they were there attacking. Once they lose the ball, everybody is defending. Total football from beginning to end. No space for the Chilean team. I'm sure Sanchez was just wondering, in the name of God, do I have a spirit?
He was also wondering also against Liverpool. But I think point here is we do wish the Super Eagles all the best of luck that they can get, and they would need it. So first match is on Friday. That's September, right? September 1st. All right, and then say about 3 days later, they would be in Yaoundé, Cameroon for the second leg. The first leg is definitely a must-win, in my opinion, and then they can maybe shoot for shoot for a draw in the return
No,
leg.
they have to. Sincerely, they can't shoot for a draw in the return leg.
Well, it's difficult playing away, so if they can get a win in the first leg, then they would be more relaxed.
There is this philosophy that says you learn more from a loss than from a win. That's
Well, but we are not.
That's a game of chess.
This is not a school now. We want to qualify for World Cup, not learning.
When you aim at the sky, even when you miss, you fall on the rooftop. If you aim at the rooftop, if you miss,
You fall on the road.
What if you aim at the road? If you miss, you disappear. So that is the question. That is the point I'm making. We have the two matches we have to aim to.
Exactly. We do hope that we'll be laughing by the time we return again next week, and that's if the Super Eagles has done us, giving us enough reason to be smiling. That's the size of the show today. My name is Mr. Emmanuel Odufejo, and I'm always glad to be sparring side by side with Mr. Joachim Idada. All right, so we'll come your way again. Please do have a lovely week, and ensure you watch the Super Eagles take on the indomitable Lions of Cameroon. Have a great week.